Model railroad rolling stock and locomotives are something that can last for decades, and you can pass down to relatives, children, things like that. But they're also not the most robust thing when it comes to wear and tear, and you have to be careful with them. This includes storage. So today we're going to talk about how I store my trains and some tips and tricks for storing your trains. When you first start, and even when you get a little bit into the hobby, you may not be the best at model railroad storage. You may not even have enough to where you need to store stuff and you can leave everything on your layout. But at some point, you're going to have enough trains where you're going to need to store them and store them properly so that they don't get damaged or completely destroyed. Now, I used to not be that great at this, as you can see by this car right here, but I've come up with some ways that a lot of people have actually taught me along the way of my journey that are really great ways of keeping things stored. Some things are pretty obvious and some things not so much, and I have a great budget-friendly way to do that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first thing. Pretty much every locomotive that you buy nowadays, and the vast majority of rolling stock that you buy, is going to come in some sort of jewel case that's not just some cheap cardboard and plastic. Just like this case of my new scale trains operator locomotives. You'll notice that I still have the case. As a matter of fact, I'm still storing the locomotive in the case, and this is my first tip, especially for locomotives. Save these jewel cases. These things are vital. I have these things everywhere, holding all sorts of different locomotives. They're also great for holding parts. If you just have some extra ones lying around that you've chosen a different way to store stuff, these are great to have. These are designed to keep a locomotive safe when they're shipping from the factory, so they're going to do a great job of keeping your locomotive safe. And considering how much you spend on locomotives right now, it's probably not a bad idea to have this, and most manufacturers just give you something to store it in safely right off the bat. So don't throw away those jewel cases. Definitely use these to store your locomotives, especially if you're going back and forth to things like clubs or shows or friends' layouts or things like that. Okay, just fair warning, you're about to see a lot of Kato. It's not anything specific for Kato, but that I just have a lot of Kato stuff. But one thing that you're going to start doing probably when you get further into the hobby is buying sets of cars rather than just individual cars. And when you buy these, a lot of times they may come in a separate case, or they may just come in a box with individual jewel cases. So save those boxes as well. I'll give you a great example. I have two different sets of the corrugated passenger cars from Kato right here. I have the set A and set B of the Southern Railway right here. I'm building myself a Southern Railway train, and these each have individual jewel cases in them, but they also came in this box, and I haven't discarded this box. I'm keeping this as storage. This is not only a great way to keep them stored, but it keeps them together as well, because this is 8 cars, and it can be hard to keep up with 8 cars sometimes when you have a ton of cars like I do. So keeping the boxes that they come in as well when you have multiples like this is a great idea. And when you're looking at sets like this, I really love when manufacturers do this, and this is something that I really love about Kato, is that this is what they call their bookcase sets right here. Now this is the Amfleet Viewliner 1, so if you buy the set that I talked about a while back with the starter series set with the Amtrak, you can actually get an add-on that comes with this case, and you can see it has a little sleeve, and it has a nice little book set. It's designed to go on a bookshelf. And you open it up and it has storage places right here for all of your cars, including the add-on cars. And there is that right there. So, and there are quite a few of these. I actually have quite a few of these that I've been collecting. Just another one that I have right offhand right here. This is the CB&Q 400 one right here, which is actually sitting on my layout back there. And then I have the Silver Streak Zephyr, which is sitting right there. So these are very nice sets to have. So when you're looking at buying stuff, look at stuff that has cases like this. This is going to keep your investments safe. Yes, I called them investments because you're investing in your fun. So buying stuff with cases like this is also great, and be on the lookout for things like this. Especially with collector's items, you're going to be able to find stuff more like this. Now you may be saying to yourself, hey, that Kato case looks awesome, but I have N-scale stuff that doesn't come with any cases. Well, you can actually buy these cases outright and just put whatever you want in them, and I'm going to try to find one and put a link to them. They're not the easiest things in the world to find. Sometimes they can be a little difficult. I guess a lot of people buy them because they're really good for storage, but I will try to find a link for one of these that's just empty and put it in the description below. So let's get on to our really budget-friendly thing. Okay, so you have a ton of cars right now that you've had for a long time, you've lost their boxes, lost their cases. They may have come from a time where model railroad rolling stock didn't come in nice boxes and jewel cases, where it came in just a little cardboard box with a little plastic molded shell that holds it in place. So you may need something to hold it. Well, I've got a solution for that. It's actually sitting right here, and it's actually full of stuff that I have right now. And this is a box for storing trading cards, whether it's baseball cards, football cards, Pokemon cards, any of these. This is a box for storing those. Now, the cool thing about it is it's actually wide enough to where you can even store some O-scale stuff in here. So if you're needing to travel with O-scale to a layout or things like that, this is a great way to do it. I'm just going to open this up right here. And you can see I have a ton. I'm going to try to tilt this without dumping everything out. But you can see I've got quite a lot in here. I've got at least, see, I've got 6 locomotives and probably 30 to 40 pieces of rolling stock in here. And this can hold up pretty well. Now, you'll also notice these little foam liners in there, and I'll mention that in a bit. But for HO, N, and O scale, and I guess Z scale by that matter, this is really great for holding all sorts of things. And I've got them organized by different sections, and I've got these little foam things. And this is one thing I actually discovered with this box, and that is these little foam dividers. This comes in about a 40 pack right here, and these are meant to divide sections of trading cards, and they go right in these slots right here, and they fit just about perfect, and they are absolutely perfect for just wedging in different spots to protect your cards. You can slide them in underneath, on top, anything like that, so that you'll be able to protect your cars. So this is a really great and inexpensive way to store your model railroad rolling stock and locomotives and all sorts of like that, especially if you have quite a few, and especially in N-scale, you can store a ton in there. But this is just probably the most cost-effective way I found for storing model railroad rolling stock in cars in HO, N, and O scale. Obviously, when you get up to G scale, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but this is a great way to do it, and I'm really happy with this method. So let me know which ways that you store your model railroad rolling stock and locomotives. We want to let as many people know as possible what we do here. This is one of my favorite methods. I plan on buying a lot more of these boxes. So thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Jimmy from the DIY and Digital. Stay safe, be kind, and happy railroading.